Well, once again, my dad beat me to the punch. I came in this morning and I found that he had already planed these maple filler strips down flush. So what we're going to do now is prepare the fretboards. So I've got some ebony, some Gaboon ebony, and some East Indian rosewood. Nice straight grain, quarter sawn material, and we're going to thickness sand it down to our target thickness. Anybody want some rosewood and ebony dust? Well, we had a little bit of a problem with the thickness sander. Looks like it caught maybe a splinter out of this piece of rosewood here and tore the sandpaper out. And you can see here on the roller.
Oh, here.
There it is, yeah. But anyway, that made quite a noise. And luckily we weren't down to the final thickness yet because it gouged some material out of a couple of the boards, but we finished it up by just keeping the boards in the center between where the ripped part was. Ay, ay, ay. Our next task is to plane one edge of each of these guys straight, and then we'll rip it parallel so that they're all the same size. And then we put the fret slots in. Changing the saw blade to Stumac fret slot blade. Cutting the fret slots, first thing I want to do is choose which side I like and which end I like. So do I like this end for the nut first fret and that end for the 22nd fret, or vice versa? And do I like this for the glue side or for the fret side? These pieces are quarter sawn, so they're really pretty homogeneous from one side to another. But let me see. I kind of do like this right here for the nut and first fret. This the show side. So this is going to go down this way, and we're going to cut off the nut end of the fretboard here. I've got my Stumac Gibson scale length template, and we're going to double stick it to this piece of wood, this piece of rosewood, and cut our slots. Oh yeah, that smell of rosewood, I love it. Nothing else smells like that. The only thing that smells maybe a little bit better is Brazilian rosewood. It's a very distinctive smell of that stuff. But so is Indian. With this Stumac blade and template system, we make pretty quick work of this. It goes real fast. Fretboards, all slotted. A couple of nice black ebony ones. These ones are going on to a couple of the mahogany and flame maple top guys. And these ones are for the same. There'll be a couple of mahogany and flame maple top bodies for these, and then the Carina ones for these as well. We're going to use hide glue to glue the fingerboards onto the neck shafts. This is my favorite glue, 192 gram strength glue. So ratio that I mix this with water is 100 grams of glue to 180 grams of water. And we mix it cold until the glue jellies up into little balls of jelly, kind of like fish roe, and then we can heat it. $57 grams so far. Get some more in there. $101 grams, close enough. Alright, so I actually added 150 grams of glue because I've got a couple of other things that I need to glue up other than these fretboards, so I want a little bit extra. So 150 grams of glue. If we're going for the same ratio, that means 270 grams of water. So here we go. Oh. There we are, 270 grams of water. I'll give that a bit of a stir.
272, no?
Oh well, I'll throw in a few extra bits of glue. Give that a stir, and might take an hour or so for that to set up. Alright, here we are, hour later. Very gelled up. And let's get some heat on this stuff. We're going to bring this up to 140 degrees Fahrenheit. That's our working temperature for this stuff. No hotter. I've got it in a double boiler type system. Little pot filled with water. I've got a couple of corian pieces here that this Pyrex cup actually sits on top of, so it doesn't actually sit connected directly to the burner, right? And that way we'll get even heat. Okay, one final check of the surface here. Just going to put a straight edge across. Make sure it's not rocking, no hollow spots. That looks good. And same with the fretboard. Yeah, nice. Alright, so now we're going to lay out the fretboard on the neck. I've got a little scrap piece of wood, 3/16 of an inch here, that simulates the size of the nut. So basically, I just center this, and then I'll clamp it once I've got this located properly. I'll just clamp it here and here, and then we will pin it so that it can't move. Right, so the spacer here, 3/16 of an inch, right to the edge of where the headstock angle starts. That's good. I've got this centered, clamped, and we're going to just use some 1-inch finishing nails. This is as simple as down and dirty method. One there. One here. Do the same down here and at the end of the fretboard. Now, there's a lot of different ways of doing this. I've done it in the past with little blocks of wood that I just super glue to the shaft. You know, 1, 2, 3, 4 back here, and that traps it nicely. Of course, the classic method is to drill a hole through one of the fret slots, usually the first fret here and maybe the last fret down here, and then drive a pin or a nail right through the hole. You can do that too. Why am I doing this? Probably because the cauls that I have made up, I didn't want to have to locate a hole for the nail head for each of the cauls. So this is, I mean, it's just an easy way. Looks like our glue is ready to go. So, final thing is we're going to leach the resins out of this rosewood. I'm going to use a little bit of acetone and just wipe down the gluing surface. Look at that. We're going to do this application a few times. Oh yes, one last thing. We're going to scrape both gluing surfaces as our last little bit. And this I believe to be very important to establish a nice sliced cell rather than a braided wood cell, which is what we get out of the thickness sander. Doesn't need much, just need to knock off. There we go. Alright, check out this cool little contraption my dad came up with. It's a 1/4-inch plate of aluminum, and we put it under our radiant heater for a couple of minutes. It's hot, and we're just using this as a kind of a hot plate to get the fretboard warmed up so that it doesn't cool the heat as soon as the glue hits it. Now we have a little more working time. That's good. And a swipe here. Come on, oh, quick. Okay. Hello? Oh. Oh yeah. And the caul is set, ready to go. This clamp. Yeah. Oop. Set the board back this way. There we go. Still okay? Yeah. So you can see the crucial thing here is speed. We can't screw around and let this glue gel up. And that's why the hot plate was indispensable. Looks good, huh? Looks good. Squeeze out everywhere.
Okay. Yeah.